I love all that. And I also really enjoy bourbon.
You're alone again. I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me. I know.
Greetings, everyone. This is Mike, and this is the Daily Bread Weekly Bread podcast, as I've branded it. And today is the day before I drive to my mom's house for Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving is in 3 days. 2 days from today. Okay, today's Tuesday. And I was going to record yesterday, but, I'm yawning. Some reason I just didn't want to. I think Mondays I typically get up and I feel like complete shit from the weekend. I think all of the beverages I consume and then the shitty food that I eat, especially on a Sunday, because Sunday is football. And even though we're in a pandemic, I go out for football, and you can go to places and sit far away from people and watch football, and it's fun. And within doing that, you start having drinks at like 2 in the afternoon, and then all of a sudden you know it's 7 o'clock at night, and you've had a few more than you probably should, and then you're like, oh, Domino's sounds like a great fucking idea, and I'm gonna order that, and then I go to bed and I have like a desert mouth the whole time, and I wake up and I feel like I have massive anxiety because I'm digesting this shit ass food. And then on Monday, I typically decide that I'm not going to drink anything, and then I wake up Tuesday morning and feel fantastic. And so today I feel that way. Plus, I've been going back to the gym again. There's a CrossFit in town, which I got into about 10 years ago. I really enjoy it. I'm not like one of those beast motherfuckers. I think if I just cut out drinking, I would probably be, I mean, I definitely would be in the best shape of my life. The only other time I did that where, um, where I did cut out drinking was in 2015. I stopped for about almost 5 months and I lost. It's like the weight just like falls off, and it's so funny that you know that that's the answer to if you're like, oh, I need to lose weight, and the simplest answer is you just cut out drinking, and it's like it literally will solve the problem. But then I had this thing where I'm like, yeah, but I'll be super bored, which I think a lot of people think because I like to go out and socialize, and like I have a lot of fun. Like a lot of stuff with a comic too is that it's like, I'm a single guy living in a city. It's like a small city, and I have pure freedom to do what I want. I work for myself, and I'm like, when as soon as 5, 6 o'clock hits, I just want to go out in the town and just absorb this town and absorb it. Yeah, like embed myself in it and go to different places and just experience the just being out and about, and I love that, and I get energy from it. And then I bring my like little, what the hell are these things, like field notes books. They're either moleskin or field notes. They're like, how big are these? It's like the size of the size of an iPhone, basically, just like a little wider. These little books and little journals. So I bring my pens out and I just sit there and I'll journal or I'll draw, and I just get these creative ideas. So it's like I get a benefit from that. But then the negative part is that you wake up just feeling a little hazy, and you make poor decisions when it comes to eating. So I don't feel like, so typically the whole week I don't really feel 100%, which is bad, and I should just like want to hang out in my apartment and just chill. But I don't know. I think there's like it's like a balance of FOMO and also just being lonely, where there's like a certain time. It's like between about 4 to about 7:30. There's this like time period that I don't want to be home, and I don't want to be like chilling by myself. But after that, if I come home at like 7:30, I'm fine. Like I'll put on vinyl, or I'll watch TV, or I'll cook or something like that, and I enjoy that. But there's this like this feeling in me in that time frame where I have to get the fuck out of my apartment. And it's almost like I wish I could, I really should. I mean, I've been on the fence of like hiring a therapist because I can actually afford to do that currently. I do meet with someone like once a month. He's kind of like a life coach, and he's more working on me like letting put like when we first started talking, it was all about breaking this wall down that I had about wanting to have a relationship again. And because we started talking about business, and I've talked about this before, but he was like, I don't think he's like I can give you all the strategy about growing a business for like my animation company that I do, and he's like I can give you all that, but the core of you isn't 100% there, then all this other shit isn't gonna work. So we should kind of figure that out. And I was like, cool. And so we started talking about that, and then he was like, I think that you are lonely and it would benefit you to probably open up to letting someone into your life. And I was like, fuck that shit. It's like, why let someone's crap into your life? It's just, there's a lyric in this band called Stay Gold, and the guy says, my house stays clean when I don't let people inside. And I love that line so much because it's true. But then I kind of went with it, and this was back in May, I think, and of this year, and I was open to it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you actually do want to have someone in your life, or you are open to fitting or creating a space for someone to be in, and so that's what he's been working with me on. That's like the life coach thing. Going back to the therapist thing, it's kind of like I know exactly what I want to focus on, and I really should just pull the fucking trigger and talk to somebody. Um, like I've been trying to find different, I guess, quote unquote, coaches for different aspects. I was listening to this guy, Noah Kagan, and he's like, every aspect of your life that you're trying to fix, you should hire someone who's a professional in doing that and have them kind of coach you through it. Where his was, I think, like dating, and he has a therapist, and he is like a chess coach. Um, like any place that he's trying to improve himself, he pays someone time to do that. And so it's like working with this one guy for the whole like life coach thing is cool. And then I pretty much like once every 2 months or every 3 months, I met with a medium because a buddy of mine had mentioned that his wife was a medium, and he said, I think that might be beneficial to you to talk to her because of your dad passing away many years ago. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And again, I've talked about this too, but it's like I don't like why not believe it? It's like I'm kind of open to those things because it's like fuck it. I can sit here and try to figure out all the reasons why it's bullshit. But like every time I meet with her, she just says things, and I'm like, this is crazy. It's like spot on, and she's younger too. Like I think she's like in her 30s. She's like early 30s or late 20s. And so that's interesting. 'Cause usually, like when I talk to mediums, and I've done it like when I grew up, my mom was big into the psychics and the tarot card readings, tarot, whatever they are. She would always go to them because she was trying to find herself because she was single for 10 years after getting divorced from my dad. And then, so I grew up seeing that, and I'm like, yeah, like, sure, why not? It seems like, sure, I'm down to believe all that. But usually they were like older women that she would go see. So talking to this person, she's younger, and it's interesting that someone has that ability, which I believe is true. So like talking to her is cool because then it gives me this other aspect where I get this other viewpoint, other lens, and then it's like life coach get his lens, and then then for pure business wise, I'm trying to hire people that can come in and work on, like, give me an idea about branding my animation company, and then I'm hiring someone who's a numbers guy to just give me a better view on that. So it's like I'm trying to put all these pieces in place that where I need help. So I think the next step is really it's okay, like let me go down really to the core of things and be like, what's this 4 to 7:30 thing that I'm so fearful of being alone for, or this FOMO thing, or like, am I like, is it bad that I want to go out, or maybe am I just beating myself up for no fucking reason? Because the repercussions of doing that is that you gain weight and you feel shitty. So yeah, that's bad. Um, but at the same time, I benefit from it because I get excited to go out and I get excited to get dressed and get not dressed get dressed just get dressed 'cause I'm just naked all the time. No, it's like, you know dress up a little bit and then go out in the town and sit there and experience conversation with bartenders and who have masks on. And there's a possibility of something happening when I leave my apartment, or it's like even when I come home, my head just feels clearer. So I love all that, and I also really enjoy bourbon, but I also am really bad with excess. So I could probably be like two in, and I could be done, but I'm like, I'll do like two more, because I also be like, what's this? I want to try that. And but again, it leads to me just being like, all right, well, I joined a gym because I'm starting to feel like crap, but I'm also working against myself because I'll go out and do this stuff. So there's all that. So like I think hiring a therapist is helpful to have them figure out like why I need to do all that. And I'm sure anyone else on the outside can probably clearly see why, when you talk to them. But I don't know. It's like I just struggle with that shit. And then like last year I was doing microdosing, which was cool. I actually still have a couple left, and I was more of in a stressful place because of everything that was happening with my dog and his seizures, and I don't think I could really benefit from the whole uh, uh, benefit from it. And I was also very stressed with money, so I think like with all those things happening, I couldn't get the full, like I said, benefit from doing the microdosing part because that's supposed to be like kind of unthreading some shit that's cluttering your brain. And so yeah, so this is just like a pure ramble. This isn't focused. This isn't really going in any direction, which is interesting to me. Like someone who listens to this podcast, I probably get about, I don't know, like a handful, like 20, 40 downloads every time I launch one of these, right? Which is like not a lot. It's just not a lot. And anything anyone else would probably bail from something like this because like my other podcast, I have this punk podcast I talk about, and I've got about 107,000 downloads in almost 3 years. So that thing is just skyrockets, and it's doing really well. Financially, I make like no money off of it. Literally, I spend probably 20, 30 hours a month on this thing, and the the cost of the time per money, it's just so completely off, especially for me because I'm a freelancer and what I charge for my hourly to do anything. Um, it's like if I'm going to put any time to it, I'm getting paid for my time. But with this, it's just like a pure passion project. Well, that's pure passion project. And then this is just pure creative outlet and freedom and fun. And I enjoy this. Anytime I start doing this, the the benefit to me is that it just feels lighter and I just love it. Like I love coming up with random ideas. Like this last week, I was just out at this restaurant I like, and I'm sitting at the bar, and I bring my notepad or my journal, field notes, and I started drawing just like four circles, and I put on Instagram stories. Give me like a theme, and I just would draw from top to bottom, kind of like a scene of something happening, And it's just so fun to be like, it's so funny to just let your brain get weird and see what it's gonna create. And I'll do it, and I'll just like laugh at the end. I'm like, how did I get from A to B? It's just like, what the fuck is going on in my head, or this just seems normal to me or funny. And it's like a mix of just weird and like fucked up, and that's just for some reason like that's where I am comfortable. So, which I'm okay with. I would love to have that translate over to, I don't know, living off of this, which I've talked about. And like I laid out the couples checklist book. It's finally laid out, and there's just like a little accents or a couple accents I want to add to it, but I almost just like want to just put it out and just be like, just put it out there and then tweak it afterwards because I'm not going to sell a lot of these things. And it's almost like a band putting out a demo tape when they first become a band. Like no one, it's hard to find that, and even if they do, it's pretty much throwaway shit. But like this, I don't want to be throwaway. I want the initial concept of it to be something to build off of. Where I think this, I really believe in this book. It's just a checklist with weird ideas for couples to do, and it's not like, and I'm thinking about this. I know I'm kind of, again, I go all over the place when I'm talking, but it kind of comes full circle and where I would really love to live off of this comic. Um, the idea when I'm looking at it, there's some, some fucked up things in there to be able for couples to do, but it's not, the point isn't for them to do it. Well, there's a couple things. Either they do these things together and that they find something out about themselves, or they find something out about their relationship that builds on it, or it just gets them to have a conversation about like, well, we would not do this, but then in that it's two people going inward and saying, well, why wouldn't I do this? So it really makes you open your mind about like thinking of like kind of finding out more about yourself, and then within that the two of you are putting that together to find out find out more about the two of your relationship, like what that bond is or what you can grow from. And even just having a conversation where you can read it and the two of you look at each other and say, yeah, we should do that. Or they look at each other and say, one person's like, I would do that. And then the person says, I wouldn't do that. And right there, it's just a pure conversation that starts, well, why? And I think it's my favorite question to ask people, because when I see someone get defensive about something, like right there is something that they have never dealt with. And there's so much to unpack when someone gets that tense, right? And especially when you ask them that and then they just like, well, that's they get defensive, or they just think that that's normal. And you're going, no, well, you seem to be bothered by that. Why is that? Because if you can't get to a level where you're talking this calmly, then there's something wrong, I think. Or if you get sad or if you get angry, then there's something triggering that. And I think in relationships, communication is 1,000% the only thing that is the glue at the core of all of it. And if the two of you are showing up and you're not even knowing who the fuck you are, then that's what you're bringing to the table. And also, if you're showing up with something that's bothering you and then you're like, oh, but this is my person, but when your person asks you why you're feeling upset and then you lash out on them, then that's not really gonna, they're not really your person, because you're not trusting them to share with them, right? So that's like the kind of the psychology of this book that I didn't realize I was doing. It was just in the beginning, it was just kind of hilarious of, I wonder how this would trigger a conversation with couples, or I wonder if they would actually go do this, because some of these things are pretty cute and some of them are pretty like opposite of that. And but it's if someone did the whole thing, uh, I think there's a connection there. There's a bond that's growing, and that's really, I guess, the core of it is what I want to have happen with people because that's something that I didn't have, and that goes way back to it. And so it's like the more that I break it down, I can see that it goes back to me getting divorced years ago, and why did that happen, and how afraid I am of not wanting that to happen again, especially coming down to not wanting to date someone, even, date anybody. But now, like, that door is wide open. I'm like, yeah, like, I want that perfect person to come in. I don't want to fill a space of the perfect person. Like, I want the person, like, there's a, how do I explain this? Like, I don't want just someone to sit in that seat. I want it to be the right person. And I don't want it to be like, well, you'll do. It's like, no, like, I want just you. And that's something that took me a very long time to get to. So it kind of goes, again, it goes back to that took a while. And then within that, there's communication there. So this book kind of comes out of, I don't want to have a failed relationship that I really care about. And this helps, to me, it seems like it's helpful in like making that, having that not happen again. And so it's like if I focused on that, I'd have the book out faster because it's not about me, it's about everyone else. It's about helping people. And that sounds so stupid and so fucking lame, and I hate when someone's like, when people are asked that, like, why do you want to start this business? Well, I really want to help people. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, what do you really want? Like, I really want couples to figure out if they should be together, because if they are together and they're miserable, you're just going to have a miserable life. And I think that's sad when people are together. So I'm giving it a real definition, not being like, I want to help people. I care about people. It's like, no, I really actually fucking hate shitty relationships. Um, so I want people to not experience that. And I want them to experience what a really good relationship is. Or they're in one right now and they had no idea that there was so many other levels that they could open up just by asking each other these questions. And I've done the love language one, or it was like 23 questions, and at the end you're supposed to fall in love. And I did that with someone years ago. And what I quickly realized is that they were really an awful listener, because their head was just constantly just thinking about work, and they wouldn't let their minds slow down. Because we had this conversation afterwards, and I said, we were doing this, and you would ask, like, she was driving and I was in the passenger seat, and we had like a 3-hour ride to Asheville, and so I was like, all right. So she brought it up, and I said, okay, cool. So I had my phone open, and I'd ask a question, and I'd say, okay, what's your answer? And so she'd give me your answer, and I'd listen. I always listen. I hate shitty listeners. I hate people who cut me off. I hate people who don't let you finish a thought. I hate when someone doesn't absorb what you're saying. It's really fucking obnoxious, and I can't fucking stand it, and it drives me nuts because I give everyone 100% attention, and um, I cannot fucking stand it when someone is not listening. It just, I think it's, I fucking hate it. And so she'd give her answer, I'd give my answer, and then she'd be like, oh, there's that bridge I wanted to show you. So she'd cut me off and just be like, here's some complete bullshit that doesn't make any sense right now. And I'd be like, you really weren't even paying attention. And the whole point of these questions are for two people to listen to each other and connect. And so, but they were just softballs. Like, what was the greatest moment in your life? What's the saddest moment in your life? So with this checklist that I'm doing, it's just super out there and funny, and then some of it's like loving. Like one of them is, I don't know, like meditate with each other for 15 minutes, or stare in each other's eyes for 5 minutes without saying anything, or randomly slow dance. There's that aspect of it. Then there's like other elements that are more, I guess, physical. And So yeah, so I need to just get the fuck out of my way and just get this goddamn thing out. But it goes back to the beginning of this whole episode is where I start talking about how just Mondays I get up and it's like I need to be more driven, and I think the choices I'm making are putting up these barriers for me to actually be creative because I just feel like, ugh, I just don't want to do anything. So it's like I know I should be living healthier because I'm going to be getting things done, but at the same time doing that, I feel like I'm gonna be missing out. So there's just this like back and forth that just drive me fucking crazy. So that is today's episode, and Thanksgiving is in 2 days, and I'm gonna go see my mom and my stepdad. And I know it's probably an awful idea because everyone's like, don't be around human beings at all because there's a pandemic. And I'm gonna not I'm gonna keep that in mind. And I talked to my mom. I was like, let's not hug, and let's keep our distance and things like that. And which is hard if you're in a room with each other. I mean, your chances of if you have it spreading are higher. But um, I feel like I've been cautious enough, even going out. Like I take precautions. So we will see. There's a very small percentage of my brain that's like, don't do this, don't go. But it's like very small. Um, so yeah. So that's what I'll be doing. And uh, hopefully I'll spend the next day, well, today, because tomorrow I'll be driving for 5 hours, but hopefully I'll take time today to just upload this fucking book and just at least get myself a copy to look at it and physically hold it in my hands and be like, all right, now I can put this shit out. So, all right, well, everyone listening, go enjoy uh, your relationships if you're in one, and if you're not, then that's okay. And enjoy your time alone. And try to figure out how to get over barriers that you have. Because if you feel like you're constantly stuck, then sometimes it helps to invest in having someone help you. Even like if it's an hour of someone's time, sometimes that can only be like maybe like $100, $150. Like it's not a lot of money for someone to. The value in that of them helping you get over something is, I mean, the value is greater than that money you're going to pay. And um, you'd be surprised what people charge for their time too. Sometimes they undercut their value big time. And pretty much everyone does that. So, yeah. Go hire someone to help you. All right.